on Skyliner, and Skyliner going to be morphing into the Dark Templar to try to hold off the front of his gate. DaBoO now going to retreat. It looks like, oh, there was a Dark Templar. Skyliner had snuck a Dark Templar into Fazinate space, and right now, Fazinate, I'm getting these names mixed up because there's just too many. Fazinate unable, does not have a robo facility, so we'll have to rely on DaBoO, his partner, to get in there. And Fazinate trying to push in here, has these DTs. The DT was choking off that ramp. So now, Fazinate in Skyliner's base, going to be able to do some damage, but does not have any detection. Just going to take some free hits, and the Skyliner has a cannon in there. Fazinate going to try to, I think, take as much pylons out as possible to try to supply block. His opponent has unpowered all of the front gates, but I think he just needs to get out of there, taking too much damage from those Dark Templars, and going to be losing a handful of units. Let's see, DaBoO here with his tiny little Novaleague army. They might be making a push. I think they could possibly push in at this point. But Origine now having transitioned from his early Reaper rush to the M combination. And here comes another push from DaBoO and Fazinate. They're going to be causing a lot of damage. This medvac coming out right in time, retreating to the missile turrets, but now nothing is guarding these barracks at all. And I don't think that Skyliner, he doesn't even have these front units powered. This might be a problem for both players right now. And Origine kind of, they're teaming up, and this is why 2v2 can be very difficult. If you can catch your opponent and split them off guard, you just won't have, even if you can pump out units at your base, you just won't have enough units to hold it off one at a time. So Origine now coming in with his units, not looking good for the Origine Skyliner combination. I'm having trouble remembering the names right now. The Mulists are stacking up. If we take a look at the production tab, and DaBoO is just working on macroing right now. Looking at the income tab, he is definitely pulling ahead of everyone else. Skyliner was able to get in a few more stalkers, but looks like they're just gonna go to town on the front of this base, and Skyliner not able to do anything. Meanwhile, it looks like Origine's just trying to get his bio ball as big as possible so that he can really stand up against these Mutalisks and the stalkers coming in too. Skyliner trying to use his DTs, but that Overseer right now just going to cause too much damage, and things aren't looking good for the Skyliner Origine team. Now they're just turtling right against their base. Skyliner throwing down just a few more gateways to choke that off. DaBoO going to pull out, realizes that he's probably going to lose too many of his units in. I think they could probably push in right now, but looks like they're going to be DaBoO throwing down multiple hatcheries. Does not want to, I think he just wants to go all in at this point. Fazinate finally getting that rope facility, finally getting that observer out here so they can deal with these, so he can deal with these Dark Templars himself. Origine now massing enough of a ball to present a big problem to this force, and even though they're able to hold them off, I think that at this point Fazinate is just going to, what is this? Origine going to be using this factory to scout Fazinate's base, but just too much pressure from DaBoO, and now DaBoO going to be macroing, Fazinate going to be macroing. At this point, both Origine and Skyliner just took his expansion, but both of them not having the time to take their expansion. And that's one of the things about the 2v2, is that the normal expansion timing, normal build orders don't necessarily go into play. It's a little bit harder to hold the expansion. There's a lot more early game pressure, and so I think that that's one of the other less favorable things about 2v2, is that you're really just one basing for quite some time before you can safely get your expansion. I think sometimes though, if you're playing maybe silver, bronze, or the gold league, is there a gold league? I know there's a platinum, there's a diamond. I'm actually not sure if there's gold, but I think there might be gold. But if you're playing those leagues, then sometimes the early expand can win the game. So always important reasons to always constantly try to pressure your opponents as early as possible to stop them from getting their expansions. Meanwhile, taking yours. Origine now going to land down, and looks like the base land Skyliner running in that DT, but not going to be able to do too much. With that Overseer there, he might be trying to pump out a Hellion. This is a factory rush into the base. I don't think it's going to work. DaBoO now just massing like crazy, has tech to invest infestors, getting corruptors, and I think they're just going to pretty much steamroll over them at that point. Army count right now, DaBoO and Fazinate are far ahead of their opponents and are definitely DaBoO way out macroing everyone. I think he's out macroing both Skyliner and Origine combined. So, but here we go. Origine going to be trying to do a counter with this medvac, huge medvac drop, or is he just kind of waiting at this point? I'm not sure. Both sides just kind of massing up, getting ready for that final push. And Skyliner now finally saturating his expansion. Origine deciding maybe that's not the best idea at this point. And we'll see what the next strategy is. DaBoO taking the lower expansion right now, opting not to go for kind of the obvious expansion up here, but maybe thinking that they are not going to check this and just going to go through the middle. Origine kind of, I think there was a mortal out there from the wreckage, and I think Origine started with that Reaper rush, kind of forced him into this Marine Marauder medic build, and probably still pretty good against a Mutiling combo. But once those infestors are really out there too, DaBoO trying to sneak in some morphlings to some changelings, I'm sorry, to kind of spy on them, but none of these units moving. They'll be able to see those pretty easily on the map. Right now, Origine throwing on more barracks, really trying to reinforce his MMM ball. There is a sad face by DaBoO, and there's confusion as to what's going on. But here comes a push by Skyliner and Origine. They're going to be running into those infestors. I think those infestors are going to be picked off if DaBoO's not going to react fast enough. But at this point, don't think that this is going to be all, and DaBoO even teching all the way up to his favorite combination, Ultralisks, Infestors, and Zerglings. Yes, fungal growth going off on the units. Not going to be looking good. A ton of Ultralisks on the field. There are mortals everywhere. These units are just really going to be marching to their doom. And here they come. DaBoO trying to hide his Ultralisks at the moment. Not really sure why. Now they're getting stuck behind that massive fire, but here they run in and munch. That Marine medic ball, that Marauder Marine ball is just going to go down too easily to these Ultras and their splash damage, and that's going to be a GG from Skyliner and Origine. And a really fun 2v2 to watch with some early mass Reapers, kind of changing things around, and use DaBoO getting the speedlings to try to counter that. And yeah, so this has been another broadcast by JC of Starcraft. If you have any more pro level 2v2s, I'd love to see them. Love to see more strategy at the 2v2 level. And this has been another broadcast, and I'm signing off.